Please mute. Please mute. Okay.
Yes, we are ready now, Didi. We can start now.
Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome. The 6th program of Srila Gurudeva Vaishnavi Prachar. Srila Gurudeva Vani Vaishnavi Prachar, sorry. So, welcome to Shrimati Jagatam Didi and Karunamai Devidasi. And we can start with Jai Dhavani. Jai Shishi Gu Guranga Gandhavaka Gadai Shivadvano Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Stata Sata Shishima Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Vishnu Vishpada Stata Sata Shishima Bhaktivedanta Shilavaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalispada Stata Sata Shishima Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalispada Stata Sata Shishima Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Papa Ki Jai. Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupada Stata Sata Shishima Bhakti Bhagyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupada Stata Sata Shishima Bhakti Vakshakshila Shida Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupada Stata Sata Shishima Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Papa Ki Jai. Ma Bhagavad Shishluko Kishodas Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Satchinan Shilbhaktivinoda Ko Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babadi Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanukuva Ki Jai. Shri Rupasnata Madhavaganath Shri Div Gopalapadas Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Srupasamadai Ramananda Ji Ko Prasad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharish Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Navadvitam Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopa Govardhana Shivanatmaka Shri Vajmandala Ki Jai. Shri Shama Kundra Kundmina Ganga Tosvakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Ki Jai. Shri Mati Vinda Devi Ki Jai. Gopishvama Devi Ki Jai. Shri Giraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Astakasaki Vinda Ki Jai. Shri Astamanjari Vinda Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baldev Spashta Shinju Ki Jai. Shri Nishinga Bhagavan Pu Ki Jai. Bhaktavash Blad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charadam Charasamadai Characharya Ki Jai. Shri Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai. Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samakata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Srila Gurudeva Vani Vaishnavi Prachar program Ki Jai. So ask Krishna Priya Didi if you're there and ready to start.
Yes.
Great. Okay. And you're going to sing?
Goranga Bolite Habi.
Great. Okay.
Goranga Bolite Habe Pulakasha Hira Hari Hari Bolite Nai Yane Vavenira Arka Venitai Chade Karuna Haive Samsara Vashana Mora Kabe Tu Chahabe Vishraya Chadiya Kabe Shudha Habe Mana Okave Hama Hira Vashi Shri Vrindavana Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hai Vyakuti bose jugala phiriti rupa ragunata pade rahu morasha prarthana karaye sada narottama dasai Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharira Hari Hari bolite nai yane babenira Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nityananda Gauranga Gaura Hari Jaya Nityananda Gauranga Gaura Hari Jaya Nityananda Gauranga Gaura Hari Nityananda Gauranga Gaura Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Thank you so much, Krishna Priya Didi. Very, very nice. Beautiful bhajan. One of my Gurudev's favorite bhajans.
Wonderful.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for coming, and really look forward to today's talks. We have the Jagatam Didi, the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and my Didi, disciple of Vaishnavi, Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So I'll just say some pranam mantras. Om Gina Tamrandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshumlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyapane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namane. Vanchakalpadubhyascha Kripa Sindhave Vicha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Hemapya Divyapcha Visundaraya Tasmama Prema Rasa Padaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Shama Sundra Shikanda Shekhara Smera Hasa Murali Manohar Radhika Rasika Mam Kripanidhi Swa Priyacharana Kinkavim Karu Tavai Rashmi Najivmi Twayavina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayaman Charanantike. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pramanityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Shiko Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before I begin, I'd like to offer my humble, most respectful obeisances to my Srila Gurudev, to all our Rupanuga Guru Varga, to all Vaishnavas assembled here, and especially our guest speakers. Shrimati Jagatam Didi, you're there? I can't see you. Okay. Are you there, Shrimati Jagatam Didi?
Yes, I'm here, Chandra. You cannot see me?
Okay, now I can see you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd just like to introduce, for those who don't know, Srimati Jagatam Didi. She's given me a brief history of her coming into contact with devotees, and especially Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudeva. So she said she felt that her life became successful from the moment that she met devotees at the age of 25. So she read Bhagavad Gita, which answered all her questions that she had for many years. So she joined the Pittsburgh Temple in America in February of 1975, and first saw Srila Prabhupada during Rath Yatra in June 1975. So shortly after that, she went with the devotees to meet Srila Prabhupada at the JFK airport in New York. And as soon as she saw his divine form, then she understood, oh, this is a pure devotee, and she began crying profusely. So she felt that her life became successful from that time. She was studying for her master's degree in university, which was right across from the temple. And shortly after, she went to live in that temple while continuing her studies. And then very soon after staying in the temple, she realized that she wanted to dedicate herself completely and gave up her studies. And then she began distributing books, which she went on to do for many years thereafter. Then she later received initiation from Srila Prabhupada at Krishna Balaram Temple in Vrindavan in April 1976, and stayed in India for a while then, and later was asked to come to Bhaktivedanta Mana near London and do traveling book distribution. So after 2 years, she was asked to open a primary school at the Mana, as she'd been trained as a teacher, and she taught there for a few years, and then went back to doing book distribution. Soon after, she began to help start the lunch and dinner program at Berry Place and then Soho Street Temple, which she felt was the highlight of her devotional service. And after several years, she got married and had a child, but always managed to somehow go out and preach and distribute books. So then she met Srila Gurudeva in 1996, which she felt was the second big dose of mercy in her life, and had many nice exchanges with him. And at present, during lockdown, she's hosting 1 or 2 reading groups every day, mostly studying Gurudeva's books, which he feels very enlivened by. So I just wanted to say a few words personally, because I've known Jagatam Didi since I first joined the mission in 1991, and consider her my Vatma Padakshika Guru. She was the first devotee that I talked with deeply anyway. And she answered all my questions that I had, and then invited me to Bhaktivedanta Mana. And from there, I went onto Padayatra, lived at different temples, including the Mana. And when I was at the Mana, she was always very encouraging and helping me. So many devotees, and so many ways. She's been helping devotees for many, many years, and especially she's brought a lot of new people to this path of bhakti. So she's known as a very avid preacher and speaks very nicely Tattva Siddhant and Leela Guitar from her heart. So we're really looking forward to hearing from her today. So Srimati Jagatam Didi, welcome. And your topic is the Srup of the Jeev. Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very, very good topic. Favorite topic of our Gurudev.
Oh. Thank you so much, Charachandrika Prabhu. Somehow you've corralled me into this, even though I feel quite nervous about speaking these days. I do these reading groups. It's easy just to read from the books together and discuss, but to actually give a little presentation is much more daunting for me anyway.
But you're a very good speaker. You're a very experienced speaker, and everyone always likes to hear you speak. So,
Anyway, whatever happens in our lives is all mercy. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote that to the Guru is, your mercy is all that I am made of. So that is my motto in life. Srila Prabhupada's mercy and my Gurudev's mercy is all that I am made of. So, but thank you anyway. Thank you so much, Charu, and also all the assembled devotees for being present here and giving me an opportunity to glorify this beautiful topic. I didn't realize it was one of Gurudev's favorites, but it's also something that's really become very important to me in my life recently. And I was so happy to find this topic in this book, The True Conception of Sri Guru Tattva, which is a compilation of various talks and essays given by Srila Gurudev, and which we are reading in my morning group. So when Gurudev begins this topic, he says that this is a very profound subject matter. And he begins to tell the story of what took place in 1955 when it was the Kartik Vrat Parikrama had just finished, and many of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples had assembled together in one place. And in fact, I think I will, if I can find that. I'll just read off the list briefly because it's interesting to hear. The devotees who assembled on that particular day: Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Bhudev Shroti Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Vichar Yayavara Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Dayata Madhava Maharaj, Sri Narottamananda Brahmachari, Sri Mahananda Brahmachari, Srimad Bhakti Vikash Hrishikesh Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Ashram Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Prapana Damodar Maharaj, and Srimad Bhakti Jivana Janardhan Maharaj. A very royal assembly of very high-class devotees. There was one member of that assembly who was considered the youngest of all of them, and his name was Bhakti Vikash Hrishikesh Maharaj. And some question was burning in his heart that he wanted to understand more deeply, and that was the question of the Swarup of the Jiva. So he says, on the one hand, then the verse is quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivera Swarupai Krishnara Nityadas, where Lord Chaitanya is speaking to Sanatana Goswami that every living entity is an eternal servant of the Lord inherently. And that, therefore, from this verse, we can see that the living entity is an eternal servant by his nature, by his constitutional position. Now, Prabhupada spoke this verse over and over again. If you ever look up this verse on Google or anywhere, you'll find this verse quoted over and over again, both Prabhupada and Srila Narayan Maharaj. Prabhupada says, when one is engaged in service to the Lord, he becomes liberated and situated in his original constitutional position. So that's one side. On the other hand, there is Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij, that according to the mood one cultivates at the time of practice in sadhana, one's siddhadeha is attained. So basically this perspective is that it's not that the swarup of the jiva is not eternally inherent in the soul, but it is placed in the soul by the association of Sri Guru, and it is cultivated by Guru and Vaishnav Sangha. Okay, so this is actually quite an important debate. Srila Gurudeva wrote about this in his biography of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and quoted it extensively, this discussion that went on. When Pujapad Yayavara Maharaj heard this question being brought up in this assembly, he became overjoyed. And he asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj, please respond to this question. And also I'd like to say, if while I'm speaking, if anything is unclear, if you'd like more clarification, or if you don't, if you have a question or something while I'm speaking, please maybe ask Chara Chandrika or something, and then you can break in, and then I can answer your question or your point.
Yeah, just generally everyone can remain muted, but if you want to ask a question in between, then unmute yourself, if that's all right.
Yeah, if there's anything that's not clear. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he gave the example of the sun and the sun rays. We've heard this example over and over again, also by our Srila Prabhupada, that there is the sun globe, and then there are the rays which come from the sun, and there's every single molecule in the rays of the sun, and that the rays of that, the molecules of that, the rays of the sun are the same in quality as the sun globe itself. So he gives us as an example of the jiva, that the jiva is a particle which is coming from the Supreme Lord. So therefore the quality of the jiva and the Supreme Lord is the same. Both are coming from Krishna, and both have, this is an important point, both are coming from Krishna and both have inherent natures. So there's the Svanksha, which is the expansion coming from Krishna, which is the Vishnu expansion. And then there's Vibhinanksa, which is the Jiva expansion. And as I said, both of them are coming from Krishna, though both of them have inherent natures. But the important point here, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj was stressing, is without sadhusanga, two things will not occur. You'll release from Maya, or in other words, who you are being uncovered. And that's the second one, really, the manifestation of Swarup. So without being in sadhusanga, Maya will not be uncovered, and our original Swarup will not be manifest. So they were saying that sadhusanga is obligatory and unavoidable for the human being. So, the human being, the spirit soul has traveled and traversed for millions and millions of lifetimes through millions and millions of different bodies and different species of life. And finally, we come to the human form of life. And in the human form of life, we're meant to understand what is our purpose. And that's why it's described here that sadhusanga is obligatory and unavoidable for the human being. Otherwise, if we don't take up that opportunity, as we've heard many times, our human form of life becomes wasted. So if you think that the swarup of the jiva manifests according to the type of sadhusanga, then many discrepancies arise, Srila Sridhar Maharaj says. And he gives the examples of, in Chaitanya Lila, Anupam and Murari Gupta. So we know that in Chaitanya Lila, Anupam had an eternal relationship with Lord Ramachandra, and so did Murari Gupta. Lord Chaitanya preached to Murari Gupta about the sweetness of Krishna, but he couldn't change his Swarup. And we know the story that Murari Gupta was open to hear this preaching because he was in association with Mahaprabhu and loved him so much. And he tried, actually, but he stayed up all night crying and discovered by the end of the night that it would be impossible for him to change his mood and his relationship with Lord Ramachandra. So then he went to Lord Chaitanya, just, crying and saying, I'm so sorry, I can't come into this with Krishna conception. I'm an eternal servant of Ramachandra. And Lord Chaitanya was very, very happy to hear that. Lord Chaitanya also preached to Venkata Bhatta, Prabodhananda Saraswati, and Gopal Bhatta. So we know that Prabodhananda Saraswati is Tunga Vijayadevi in Krishna Lila, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami is Guna Manjari. So in this case, when Lord Chaitanya, you see, they were in the Sri Sampradaya. By Leela, they joined the Sri Sampradaya, which doesn't have connection with the divine couple. It's more in the mood of worship of Narayan, the mood of awe and reverence in relationship with Lord Narayan. So, but when Lord Chaitanya preached to them, they were able to take this up. But why? What can I just throw this out to you, to anyone who would like to answer? Why were they able to accept that they had an eternal form in Krishna Lila, whereas Anupam and Murari Gupta were not? Anybody want to say?
Why were who? Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, Prabodhananda Saraswati and Gopal Bhatta. When Mahaprabhu preached to them, unlike Anupam and Murari Gupta, who couldn't change their Swarup, but when they heard from Mahaprabhu about the sweetness of Krishna, they were able to leave the Sri Sampradaya, which worshipped Lord Krishna in awe and reverence, and to take up the mood of a Manjari in the case of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and the mood of Tunga Vijayadevi in the case of Prabodhananda Saraswati.
I can answer if no one else wants to, but probably others might want to.
Haribo?
Yes?
Is it because they have what's called Swarup Vyuha? They have rupas in both leelas?
That would be part of it, but I mean, I'm asking why directly were they able to immediately accept the preaching of Lord Chaitanya and enter into Krishna Lila, whereas Anupam and Murari were not able to do that?
Hare Krishna.
Who is speaking now?
This is Shamarupa Das.
Haribol Prabhu, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm with my wife here in our kitchen. I was listening in.
Uh-huh.
Gopal Bhatt, as I best understand, he's actually in Krishna Lila a Manjari. I think, gosh, I forget sometimes it's said Ananga Manjari, but also starts with an M. I forget the name. But his Sarup is eternally as a Manjari.
Yes, that's right.
So therefore he can naturally take to it.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
I forget Prabodhananda's eternal Swarup in Krishna Lila, but for at least Gopal Bhatta, that's why he was able to accept.
Yeah, that's the perfect answer. And Prabodhananda Saraswati is Tunga Vijayadevi. So
Yes, thank you.
yeah, so thank you. That's what you were going to say, Charu?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So because they were constitutionally a Manjari and a Saki, they were able to accept this. But so the point is here that the point that Srila Sridhar Maharaj is making is that the nature, the swarup of the jiva is fixed. It's not like it's planted from outside by guru and or by practice in a certain sangha. So this is the point that Srila Sridhar Maharaj is making. So even to the point where Lord Chaitanya tried to preach to Anupam and Murari Gupta, but they couldn't change their heart's mood. So at that point, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he turned to Bhakti-Pragyan Keshava Maharaj and asked him to speak during this very august assembly of devotees. The jiva has his own Siddha Swarup. His inherent name, form, etc. are all eternal. So Srila Bhakti-Pragyan Keshava Maharaj is going to speak about this point. The jiva has his own Siddha Swarup, his own internally perfected spiritual form, and his name and form, etc., they are all eternal. So Srila Bhakti-Pragyan Keshava Maharaj, he gives 4 examples to illustrate this, okay? So the first example is the example of planting seeds. This is something we can all easily understand. So if you plant a mango seed in the ground and you plant a jackfruit seed in the same soil, the same place, and an apple tree seed in the same place, although they're all in the same soil, they're all being watered by the same rain, they're all being shined upon by the same sun, and they're all experiencing the same wind, still they will manifest differently. The jackfruit will manifest into jackfruit, etc. So that's the first example he gives to show that the Swarup is fixed. The second example is the example of Swati Nakshatra. Swati Nakshatra is a particular constellation of stars, which occurs every so often. And when that is present in the sky and rain comes, it will fall, and it falls on 5 different things. If it falls on the oyster, a pearl will come from that oyster. When it falls on a banana tree, camphor is produced. When it falls on a snake, a precious jewel will come. When it falls on an elephant, there's something called an elephant pearl, which is manifest. And when it falls on the hoof of a cow, there's a pigment, a substance called gorochana, which manifests. Are you all with me here? So I've given 2 examples. I'd like someone to say what was the first example in your own words.
I can't remember. It was Murari Gupta and the other personality. I can't remember. Sorry, who the other one was. Yes, and then Prabodhananda Saraswati and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. How?
Yeah, that was during the discussion of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but here we're speaking about Bhakti-Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. He gave 4 examples. Yeah.
You mentioned the mango seed.
Yes.
Back to the mango seed.
Sorry.
Inside the mango seed would be a mango tree.
Yes.
And they give the example of Swati Nakshatra.
Yes.
And Gocharan.
Okay. So those are the first 2 examples. Thank you. And then the third example he gave was coming from the Jaiva Dharma. And he gave the example of how 2 disciples, Brajanath Prabhu and Vijay Kumar Prabhu, went to the same guru. They had the same guru, Raghunath Das Babaji, but they each had a different swarup. So one of them was in Sakya Ras and one of them was in Madhurya Ras. The fourth example is the story of Gopakumar. His natural form, Sakyabhav, did not change, even though he exposed himself to so many different sanghas. And in his journey from one place to another, his eternal form in Sakyabhav never changed. So that's another example that's given. Now, Bhakti Pragyan Keshavaraj, he also made it a point to stress the importance of sadhu sangha, because in the human form of life, without sadhu sangha, there's no way we can actually come to know who we are as eternal beings. So sadhu sangha, proper bona fide sadhu sangha, uncovers the soul and, you know, wipes away the maya which covers us from seeing who we are. And you know, he said, I just want to quote the exact words here. When the jiva is averse to Parameshwara, Supreme Lord, his pure swarup is concealed by Maya. Conversely, when he becomes inclined toward Parameshwara, the curtain of the covering potency Maya is withdrawn, and thus the jiva's pure swarup and qualities are uncovered. Immediately thereafter, he has direct perception of his own swarup. So, in conclusion to his talk, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he speaks about the three types, the three qualities that we must imbibe in order to advance, the three qualities that we must look for in advanced association. And the first one is that we should look for association of those who are more advanced than us. And the second one is that we should look for those who are in the svajatiya, the same mood as we are. Of course, we may not know what that mood is, but in maturity, as we mature in bhakti, we come to know this point. So it's important that those who we associate with are in the same mood. And thirdly, snigdha, that we associate with those who have affection toward us, and by that affection coming into our heart opens up, and then we can, and bhakti can come in. So after reading this beautiful little essay that Srila Gurudeva produced for us, I was thinking that, so what we can ask the question to ourselves, why am I in this sangha? Because there's so many different sanghas. We know there's 4 prominent sampradayas, and each sampradaya worships Krishna in a different mood. One sampradaya worships Krishna in the mood of a baby, thinking like in Vatsalya Bhav, and another sampradaya is in the mood of awe and reverence. I believe that's the Sri Sampradaya. But so why have we come to this sampradaya? And yeah, I would say that it's not an accident that we come to this particular sampradaya. And it gives us an indication of who we are. What sampradaya we've come to gives us some indication of who we are. And there will be some exceptions to that, just like there were in Chaitanya Leela with Anupam and Murari Gupta. But generally, we have a particular swarup because all of our acharyas are in the Manjari swarup. So in Srila Gurudev, I remember during parikrama, one time he said, think about the different pastime places that you visited on Brajamandala Parikrama. And think about which ones you were most attracted to. Which ones seem to make the biggest impression in your heart, the ones that you don't seem to forget. He said that will give you an indication of your Swarup. And also, but then, you know, I also remember that Gurudev said, when he took us to these holy places in Brajmandala, he told us to bow our heads down in the dust and pray for Radhadasyam. So this was an important topic for me, because I got the feeling that Srila Gurudev was scouting for manjaris. So I began to think that maybe he wants to impose something on me that I might not necessarily be. He wants to turn me into a manjari, and maybe I'm not a manjari. So this was an important question for me. And in my immaturity in my bhakti, I could see that he asked me to pray for Radhadasyam, which I did do, being an obedient follower, but I wasn't sure about that. I didn't know if I was in Radhadasyam, and I was told, well, you don't have enough faith. But yeah, these are things that come as we mature in our bhakti, as we go deeper in our bhajan. We begin to understand these things more clearly. And according to this presentation that took place originally in 1955, this discussion, the Swarup of the Jiva is fixed. It's not given externally by the Guru, who decides who he wants you to be. It's not influenced by the Sangha that you're in, but it is already fixed. So I'll stop there. If anybody has any questions or points, anything that they'd like to add. And I feel like I'm in a very elevated congregation here. So Mukunda Prabhu, I think that's you, is it? I'm not sure. But if anyone has anything to add or anything, please do. Thank you.
Jagatandini, thank you so much. You give such a very nice presentation, and I can reflect on a few points if you like, and then others can ask questions, or questions first, whatever, doesn't matter. Well, you were speaking about how in this conversation that took place between very elevated Vaishnavas, Bhakti Vakshashla Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Bhagyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Janardhan Goswami Maharaj, Rishikesh Maharaj, and very, very important topic came up. So, you know, Krishna and Nityanas, and you know, we know that we're eternal servants of Krishna. We hear this over and over again. And it's said, on one hand, according to the mood one cultivates at the time of our sadhana, then one's Srup manifests. On the other hand, the Srup has an inherent nature. So which is it? And of course, you were mentioning again and again about how so important to be in sadhu sangha, because without sadhu sangha, our Srup cannot possibly be uncovered or manifest. And you gave it different examples of Anupam and Gupta, how it's obvious that because their Srup was very, very much fixed, they couldn't change, even though Mahaprabhu was telling Murari, you know, to meditate on Radha and Krishna and like this. He couldn't give up Ramachandra, and you know, Anupam is the same. And also you gave examples of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Prabodhananda Saraswati. Prabodhananda Saraswati is Tunga Vidya Sati, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami, I think, is Guna Manjari. So, you know, when Mahaprabhu preached, then they could easily change from the Sri Sampradaya, this, you know, to come in Mahaprabhu's line, you know, his mood. So, and then you explained about this example that I think Srila Bhakti Bhagwan Keshav Goswami Maharaj gave about if you plant a seed of a neem tree or jackfruit tree or any kind of tree plant, it's not going to manifest in the sun. It's not going to grow into something else. It will remain. It will grow into a neem tree, jackfruit like this. So these are examples, and also Swati Nakshatra constellation, when that's there, the rain comes and falls upon an oyster, a pearl will come, banana, camphor will come, snake, a special jewel will come, elephant, an elephant pearl will come, and hoof of a cow, then Prachar will come. So all very, very examples are there that were given. And of course, you gave the example of in Jaivadvama, Bhaganath, Babaji Maharaj, Vijay Kumar Bhajanath. Of course, according to their Swarups, then they attain the different moods. And Gopal Kumar, you gave that example about how he'd, no matter where he went, he was never satisfied until he reached Braj, because that was true. And then, and of course, you explained about what kind of sadhu sangha are we looking for, in that once we get that sadhu sangha, our Sri manifest, but that association must be, you know, someone more advanced, someone who's in the same mood, and who's affectionate. So, and then, of course, a very nice point you made at the end about why we come into this sampradaya. So we've only come into this sampradaya. It must be because, you know, our Sri is in Krishna Lila like this, you know. So yeah, and very nice, very last point about when we go on Brajpantal Parikrama, how Gurudev said, you know, we should pray the dust in all these holy places, Radha Dasham. So of course, that's what Mahaprabhu was giving, Unata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam. So definitely, Gurudev said actually that why have we come in this line of Mahaprabhu? It must be because we want what he's giving, this Unata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam, this Manjari Bar. So it's a very, very, very nice presentation, very nicely explained, but I'm sure devotees have got questions, and I saw one in the oh, by the way, Navalatika, you want to say anything?
Okay, yes. I just want to thank Jagatam, Didi. Thank you very much. This is always a beautiful topic to speak on. And of course, there is some questions that I have, but I just also want to say that how glorious is to be in Sadhu Sangha with pure devotees, and to be like really get that association, because even if our Swarup is fixed already, and we don't have the capacity, or we don't have the potential or the power to discover that. So the Sadhu Sangha is so important, because this devotee, pure devotee that comes from the spiritual world, that is actually associated with Srimati Radharani, Krishna, have the power to uncover these Swarups. So that's amazing. It's not just like, yes, I want to be with Gurudev, you know, I just want to be with, I don't know, these acharyas, and just like a mosquito, like myself, like, you know, zooming around. But really, when we know that when we are near to this pure devotee who is a receiver of the Swarup Shakti of Krishna, is a Manjari, actually, has the power to give me to be, manifest my Swarup. So when we have that in mind, it's really, we can really appreciate what it means to be with the sadhu, what it means to be with Gurudev. And that is very awesome. It's very wonderful. And for me, especially, it's like, wow, I had the opportunity to be near to Gurudev, but I was kind of, a mosquito there, very foolish. And I just wanted to kind of just speak with Gurudev something and have his attention, but I really didn't understand that was the deep purpose of being in Sadhu Sangha. So for me, it's very clarifying and enlivening my conception of Sadhu Sangha. So it's really amazing. Thank you, Didi, for that. And I have one question, but I don't know if I do it now.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat, or I think there's a couple of questions. Krishna Premavati Didi is asking, Lord Chaitanya's associates were all Nitya Siddhas, and thus their swarups were actually fixed. But is it not so that of the Nitya Baddhas, the swarup is not fixed yet, that it needs to be developed or revealed because it is there in seed form, like in the spiritual DNA? So Jagatam Didi.
Yeah, it's always fixed, whether you're Nitya Baddha or Nitya Siddha, it's always fixed. But the point is, for Nitya Baddha, we have to come into Sadhu Sangha and for it to be revealed. But that swarup is always fixed in the heart of the jiva. Prabhu had a point. I'm sorry, your name is Raymond's on, but I.
Oh, yeah, it's me, Mukunda. Just has a iPad name. But yeah, Didi is somewhat correct, because the example of Murari Gupta, Anupam, etc., they're all Nitya Parikars. So they came into Mahaprabhu's Leela specifically because to taste, for those who were not Braj Nitya Parikars, the intensity of Braja mood. In the verse, Prem Naiva Goparamanam, Kamam Ityagamat Pratam, Udava Adayo Pietan Vajanti Bhagavad Priya. All the previous associates of the Lord who were pure devotees, like Hanuman, like Jai and Vijay even, all came into Mahaprabhu's Leela. And in the Leela of Mahaprabhu, they tasted the intensity of Braja Rasa, as Charu Chandrika Didi mentioned, because he was giving this mood. So that's one example. The Bada Jivas, they have, Jiva Goswami says, Swarup Yogata, the potential for a particular type of rasa. Sanatana Goswami Pad is written in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Vichitri Tad Tat Ruchi Dana Lila. He's given a particular type of taste is present in the heart of every jiva. But that taste is a potential. It is not the actual swarup of the jiva, because the swarup of the jiva is composed of swarup shakti. So Param Gurudev wrote in Param Gurudev's biography, in that same conversation in 1955, Param Gurudev, he explains that what they mean by the swarup being inherent in the jiva is that the swarup is inherent in the constitution of the jiva. The constitution of the jiva means the jiva's perfected stage, not the Nitya Bhada stage. So the potential for a particular rasa is there. Generally in the stage of ruchi, it begins to manifest. At that time, Shri Guru can see exactly clearly what kind of ruchi he has. This is called ruchi pariksha, and then cultivates that. This is what Babaji Maharaj did with Vijay Kumar and Brajanath. He did ruchi pariksha, so one is in Sakyaras, one Madhurya, and told them, come on separate days henceforth to receive your bhajan shiksha. So the potential is there, but the debate had come up years ago that the Swarup is inherent. And by saying the Swarup is inherent in the conditioned Jiva would suggest that Swarup Shakti can be covered by Maya, which is impossible. So actually, the Swarup is inherent in the constitution of the Jiva. This is the meaning of Jivera Swarup Hoye Krishna and Nitya Das. So when Swarup Shakti will descend, Sudha Sattva Viseshatma, etc., at that time, the Jiva will realize their Swarup. Then in Govinda Bhasya, Baladev Vijabhushan has said, at that time, he realizes, this has always been me. That's the meaning of the Swarup being eternally fixed. Because when you realize the Swarup, you never think, oh, there wasn't a time that I was not so-and-so Manjari or whatever your Swarup is. You understand? So then this is called Nitya Vatmanakal, because in that consciousness, one doesn't think, oh, before I was something and then I became this parikar. Once you realize your Swarup, I've always been this person. You understand? But prior to that, in the conditioned stage unfolding, all of the acharyas have built the case. Krishna Janmamuli Hoy Sadhu Sangha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when I examine myself, you'll get to vichari, kichunai pai, tomoru kununa sar. That everything I have is coming from Guru. This is where the idea is generated about the verse, Guru Krishna Prasade Poi Bhakti Lata Bi, that is coming from Guru. It is acknowledging that without my Gurudev, I have nothing. I could get nothing. So the disciple in the conditioned stage thinks, I have nothing, and my Gurudev is giving me everything. Is this conception proper? Absolutely. But in reality, the potential of a particular Swarup is in that Jiva. And then Gurudev reveals it. And then at the time of Swarup Siddhi, Bhavavas, Sudha Sattva Viseshatma, Prem Sriyam Sasamya Bhak, etc., it reveals in full at that time. Govinda Bhashat says, he thinks, I've never not been this person. Swena Sarupena Abhinas Bhajati. This is my identity. There was never a time when I was not this. So it works like this. So there really wasn't the debate was the confusion about whether or not, and I've spoken to so many people from the traditional Pariwas quote, and their argument was that they think that Gaudiya Vaishnavas was saying that the Swarup, the Siddha Deha, is inside the conditioned Jiva and covered by Maya. Of course, that cannot be, because the Swarup, the Siddha Deha, is composed of Swarup Shakti, and Maya has no ability to cover Swarup Shakti. I'm sorry.
So only in the stage of Ruchi at that time, I mean, with the maturity of the devotee, so at that time will descend the Swarup Shakti.
No. At that time, Swarup Shakti is always coming from the time you begin your association with Guru and start hitting Harikatha. Swarup Shakti is coming in small pieces. We're realizing in progressive stages. In the stage of Ruchi, first there will be like Tatat Bhava Adi Madhyare Shuti Dirapekshite, there will be a taste. First in Bhajan. How glorious is Harinam? How glorious is Sadhu Sangha? Then the second stage of Ruchi is Ruchi in Bhajaniya. The object of what I am doing sadhan for is so wonderful. At that time, your Swarup begins to show itself. Guru will do Ruchi Pariksha then. He'll look at your Swarup. Oh, from this day forward, do this kind of bhajan more. Do this sort of thing more. Right? Like this. And then it will make to a Sakti, and then full rain of mercy will come. Bhavavas.
May I say, Prabhu, I can't understand that because even a Bada Jiva is still a spiritual being, is still an eternal spiritual being, and still has an eternal constitutional nature. But I thought I was reading that nature is covered by Maya and has to be uncovered by the Guru and by Sadhu Sangha.
Yeah, it's the English that becomes confusing. So I was helping Shamrani Didi when she was writing this book. And in the beginning of that book, I put definitions, right? Because the definitions will help us, because in English language, it doesn't translate from Sanskrit very well sometimes. So Jiva Goswami Pad has mentioned Anadi Paramatattva Jnanam Samsarga Bhava Mayenam, that the Jiva has been the abhav, means he's been absent of Swarup Shakti from Anadikal. So though the Jiva is Sachidananda, he's eternal, his existence, and he has potential for Ananda fully, Swarup Shakti has not yet descended on that Jiva in the conditioned stage. Other than that, there's no meaning to the verse, Sudasattva Viseshatma. That would mean that already was there. But Swarup Yogata, the potential is there. So to say we have nothing, that's why Gurudeva said, you can't say nothing is in the Jiva. Plus Sanatana Goswami said, Tad Ruchi Dana Lila. I have directly positioned a particular type of Ruchi in every Jiva. So there is a Gara Sanskar, Bhaktivinoda Thakur called it, a particular inclination. In the course of Sadhu Sangha, that is what is brought out. But not the Siddha Deha itself is present in the conditioned stage anywhere. Gurudev says many times, many places. That's why if you hear Gurudev's lectures, he will always say, in your constitution, you have a very beautiful Swarup with beautiful arms and legs and so forth. And our Srila Prabhupada used to always say, in your constitutional position. He used to use that phrase.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So is there any more? Thank you so much, Mukunda Prabhu. Very, very nice reconciliation there, because, you know, Babaji line says one thing and Gaudiya line says, you know, so you've reconciled very nice. Thank you. So there was another question. Who's this? Let me just see. Baladev? Yes, Baladev. He says, I've reflected many times this topic, and the idea came that we don't know, at least I don't know, that who knows our past birth, who knows what past birth we were in. Oh, who knows if in our past birth we were in another sampradaya, thinking the same that we think now. Actually, is Baladev Prabhu there? Maybe Baladev Prabhu, could you ask your question, because I'm just having a little trouble with the English here. Are you there? Baladev Prabhu? I don't know what's happened to him. Okay, I'll try.
Haribo, my English is not good.
Okay, but you try. Yeah, because maybe you'll be able to communicate it better.
But my idea is that we don't know now what we have been in past lives. Maybe we are Christians or Muslim, who knows? Maybe we're in Sri Sampradaya, and next birth maybe you change again, because I think when Gurudeva says that next birth to get the same Guru in same mood as he told in Italy, that same Guru of same mood will come to us. But my understanding is that he's saying that if we are already in pure bhakti means after Sharanagati, and Sharanagati is very rare in this world. We know the feelings that are expressed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how deep, and how deep is the mood of Sharanagati. So without Sharanagati, no Puri Bhakti, not even Kanista. So my understanding is that when Gurudev says like that, is only for those who already is on the path of pure bhakti, at least Kanista. So if in my case, I know that I am not Sharanagata, so I am not in Kanista, means I am not in pure bhakti. So for me, there is no no certainty for nothing. If this mood, that mood, for me, no, cannot imagine this thing. So this is what came in my mind when I reflect these points. That's what I wrote.
So is it, are you asking a question or are you just making a statement there? Sorry, couldn't quite
No,
understand.
I was saying about my reflection on this topic.
Okay, sure. Very nice. Thank you so much. Okay. Was there Navalatika, were there any questions on Facebook?
No, I just checked. There is no questions.
I don't think there's any more questions anyway. Okay, so we can go on to introduce Kunamai Didi. Thank you so much, Shrimati Jagatam Didi.
Thank you, Didi.
Very, very enlivening talk and brought out very many nice points. So thank you so much. And maybe there might be some questions at the end as well if you're still around then. So thank you, Didi. Okay. Would you like to introduce Kunamai Didi now?
Yeah. Okay, Karunamai Didi, yeah, she's so sweet devotee. She started chanting in 1996 after taking up and reading Srila Prabhupada's books. She then accepted Harinam in 2000 in San Diego and Diksha on Salt Spring Island of the same year from Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. She's been a mother as her primary seva over the last 24 years and has been doing audio seva and other sevas with the Bhakti Zoom team. She's lived in the devotees community of both New Braj or Badger, California, and Sharanagati village in Canada. And she will be speaking on the glories of Harinam Sankirtan. And yeah, she's very nice devotee. Welcome, Didi. Karunamai Didi, I can see you. Okay, yeah, she's here. Welcome, Didi. Hare Krishna.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much, Taro. You're always engaging me. I appreciate so much. And Gurudev wanted his daughters to preach like lions, so I will try to do my best. So I'll just start with a little. Om Ginantalandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unamitanina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Gurave Gurachandra Radhika Tatare Krishna Krishna Bhakti Tadbhaktai Namo Namaha. Okay, so the topic that I'm speaking about today is the glories of Sri Harinam Sankirtan. And it's been very nice to be able to spend the last few weeks reading as much as I could on everything Gurudev has given us in his books about the subject of Harinam Sankirtan. And it's a really nice reminder as well for me. It's been a really nice reminder for me as well, just how important Harinam Sankirtan is and how it is, if not the most important anga of bhakti. It's the most important sacrifice for this particular age of Kali, and it is something that Gurudev and all of our acharyas constantly were performing and sharing, and of course Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So I think that's where I'm going to start, is with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaurasundar, who manifested 500 years ago here in this world, and he, possessing all of the specialities of all the previous incarnations, appeared along with his companions, his associates, his servitors, and his weapons, just as all the other incarnations of Krishna appear. They come with their entire entourage. And just as they have their associates and servitors and companions and weapons, so did Mahaprabhu. And his weapon, which is different than all of the other incarnations, is this Harinam Sankirtan. And using this weapon, he, in a very short period of time, was able to completely inundate the entire world with Bhakti Ras, giving an opportunity to destroy all of the ignorance and the sins of the jivas. And one of the things I was reading about that Gurudeva was explaining was that he gave special mercy to the residents of Gaudadesh, because it was here, like an atom bomb, where it lands, they call it ground zero. And this is where Mahaprabhu, where his bomb, his explosion of Bhakti Ras came from, is in Gaudadesh. And this is where he would perform his Harinam Sankirtan. And this is how these waves of Bhakti Ras, how he was able to distribute them throughout the entire world, was from this epicenter in Navadvip Dham. And along with his associates, he'd perform Harinam Sankirtan. And this performance of Harinam Sankirtan, we're still feeling the effects of today. And you have to excuse me, I have allergies. So we're still feeling these effects. And Gurudev was explaining in one of his books, in the purport of Gita, he's explaining how in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described, I'll actually just read the verse. Krishna Varanam Tvisisa Krishnam Sangopagastra Parsadam Sankirtana Prayer Yagna Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hi Somadesaha. So this is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that describes how in intelligent persons, they perform the sacrifice of chanting the holy names and worship that personality in whose mouth the syllables Kre and Shna dance. And that personality whose body is the color of molten gold, and who comes in this world surrounded by his associates and distributes this Bhakti Ras, that those intelligent people, they would worship this personality and participate in this Harinam Sankirtan. So that's what we're trying to do, or at least that's what I'm trying to do, is take up just a tiny bit of this association and the seva and the sacrifice of performing Harinam Sankirtan. I wanted to describe a little bit of what is, because a lot of times there's people who, even devotees I hear from, who don't really like to do Harinam Sankirtan, going out in the street and dancing and chanting and making a spectacle of themselves. And sometimes it's not always easy to understand from an outside viewpoint, or even sometimes as devotees, why are we performing this? Why are we doing this? Well, one, because Gurudeva told us to. That's the primary reason. He told us to go out and he told us to do this like this. And so on his instruction we do, and on his instruction there's some mercy and there's some potency in doing this Harinam Sankirtan. And two, Mahaprabhu himself, who is the basis of this entire sacrifice, and he's the acharya of the Harinam Sankirtan movement, because Krishna himself came with the moods of Radharani to taste her moods and to experience what Radharani experiences. And there was been very nice descriptions I was reading of Gurudeva about how Mahaprabhu would perform this Harinam Sankirtan, and he would be chanting the names and experiencing the sweet mellows of Shringara Ras between Radha and Krishna during the Ras dance, and how and then in Bhajan Rahasya it talks about how every there's 32 syllables in the Harinam mantra, and there are 16 names, and there are 8 pairs of names, and each pair of these names coincides with one of the shlokas of Sri Shastakam, as well as with the stages of bhakti. So Mahaprabhu would perform Harinam Sankirtan in Gaudiya, tasting with every single pairs of these names, these elevations of moods, and Ras and his associates as well would just be dripping with, Mahaprabhu would be dripping with prem, and his associates all would be tasting that prem that was emanating from his entire being. And again, like I said, we're still experiencing the effects of what took place when Mahaprabhu was here, and still continues on. So yes, so Harinam Sankirtan, this Mahaprabhu himself actually only gave 8 written instructions that he left in this world, and those 8 instructions are Sri Shastakam. And like I was saying, each group of names within the Harinam mantra coincide with one of these instructions, and the first being Chitotapanam Marjanam Bhav. And by chanting this Harinam mantra, we're able to elevate ourselves through these different processes of stages of bhakti, and the first being Shraddha. And Gurudeva said that the only qualification anyone needs in order to perform Harinam Sankirtan is faith. That's the only qualification anyone needs. And he said not even human, but any living entity, if they have just a little bit of faith, they can perform this Harinam Sankirtan, and there will be some benefit, some fruit will come. And he also is describing how in different Vedas, they say that you perform Archanam with Smaranam. And in some places it says that Archanam is actually more high for a neophyte devotee to perform, because sometimes Smaranam is so difficult to achieve. But actually, the fruits of all the different angas of bhakti, such as Shravan, Smaran, Kirtanam, of course, and Padasevanam, and all the others, can only be experienced if Kirtanam is there and is included. And coming back to Shraddha, from Shraddha, the next that we come to is Sadhusanga. So if you perform Harinam Sankirtan with some Shraddha, then inevitably you'll actually experience a tiny bit of Sadhusanga as well, and you'll continue to go up in the stages of bhakti, because from faith comes eventually, one way or another, Sadhusanga, and then you can perform Bhajana Kriya and Anartha Nivriti, and so on and so forth. So all of this is in the Maha Mantra itself. So when we're actually going out and performing Harinam Sankirtan, we're not only just chanting these names, but we're, how can you put it? Mahaprabhu, when he's chanting, or when Gurudeva's chanting, or when he's sending us out to do Harinam Sankirtan, he's not only giving us the tools, but the mood, and he's giving us the means, and everything, it's all included within those names. And that's pretty unbelievable. All of the Vedas, the fruits of everything is all included within the names themselves. And another thing I wanted to touch on very briefly is one of the things I like to do is try to understand the symbolisms and the meanings behind the sound vibrations of what we say and what we remember. So in Sanskrit, for example, what is Sankirtan? I talked a little bit about what Harinam is, but what is Sankirtan itself? And I was looking into it, and it apparently, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I know there's so many seniors here, but apparently the sound vibration in Sanskrit means proximity. It represents proximity and closeness, and is the representation of proximity and closeness. So a lot of words in Sanskrit, such as Sangha or Sanskrit, they have the sa in the beginning of the word, and is my limited understanding that this in Sankirtan in particular is the representation and meaning of coming together and making connection with this kirtan and doing it together is extremely powerful because it does do just that. It brings and connects one with not only Krishna himself, because Krishna is not different than his name, but with each other and with our gurus and our Guruvag. There's this transcendental connection that can occur. And Gurudev, the last thing I wanted to say, Gurudev, he said that Sankirtan itself is so powerful that even if you're meditating, if someone is trying to meditate, but you're doing Sankirtan and you're chanting, and they won't be able to meditate because Sankirtan is so powerful that it will automatically control your senses, not just your senses, but other people's senses as well, because it can't be helped. If they can hear you and you're chanting, and if you're chanting with a little bit of Shraddha as well, as Gurudev said, that's the one qualification we need to go with. And then this method, the sacrifice, which I should probably mention is the only prescribed sacrifice for this age of Kali. I believe that the sloka is Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalonaste eva naste eva gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no other means of deliverance but this Harinam mantra. And to do it together in unison in Sankirtan is the most powerful and beneficial way to perform the sacrifice of remembering Krishna and serving Krishna through chanting his names. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Karunamai Didi, thank you so much. That was very, very nice, very enlivening. Of course, this is the best process, like you said, for this age, this Sangatan, and recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course, our Gurudev and all our Guru Varga have instructed us to perform Sangatan. So, yeah, and this is the process that will give us Krishna Prem. So the most important, you made some very, very nice points, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came just over 500 years ago, and he came with his associates, servitors, weapons, a weapon of Harinam, of course, Harinam Sankirtan. And you quoted this verse, Krishna Varnam Strusa Krishnam, how, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself, but he's come in this golden color, and he's taking the mood and complexion of Srimati Radhika, and he's come to give this most sublime process for this age, and he came with a flood of love of God, these waves of Bhakti Ras, Harinam Ras, and especially to Gaudadesh. We gave special mercy to the residents of Gaudadesh there. And you also asked the question, why should we perform Harinam Sankirtan? Because, some devotees, they may be shy to go out on the streets. And of course, Yashodanandan Prabhu, he's arranging this, 108 Sankirtan parties, yeah, all over the world. So that'd be on July the 11th, right? And that is the day of Rath Yatra. So to encourage everyone, you gave a very nice talk also. But not just then, of course, you can go out every day, every week. And even the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they used to go out every day for 8 hours or so a day, you know, can you imagine? They must have been in complete ecstasy like that. I'm sure Jagatam Didi can tell about that. And of course, Mahaprabhu, what was he tasting when he was performing Sankirtan? He was tasting this Shringar Ras, you know, this very, very sublime, sweet mellow of Ras. And, you know, we can also enter in to this Sankirtan Ras and taste some drops of that nectar, what Mahaprabhu actually came to give. And what is the qualification for entering that? It's only Shraddha. We only need some faith, at least to begin with. So then, you know, in this, of course, book Shishastakam, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions how, you know, the 32 syllables of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is including everything. It's including Astakalya Leela, it's including meeting, separation, and you know, Mahaprabhu was tasting that so deeply. So we can also, he's inviting us all in to taste something of that. And of course, you know, what effects are there? Chetudapana marjanam bhavamaha davigni nivapadam. So all these effects are there in the first verse of Shishastakam. And actually, you know, all the verses, all 8 verses of Shishastakam are there to be experienced in this Harinam. So it's very, very powerful. And that sa, it means close proximity, like you said, and coming together in kirtan. This is very, very powerful process. And even if someone's doing japa meditation, then, you know, they'll become completely overpowered by this Sankirtan. They will feel so inspired to enter into this Sankirtan. So you made very, very nice points and very, very inspiring, very enlivening. Let's see if there's any questions. Or Navalatika, did you want to say anything? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Sorry, Karuna Mai Didi. I just wanted to read this. This is very short. Srila Rupa Goswami says in his Vidagda Madhava 1.15, he says, a pure devotee chanting in ecstasy aspires for millions of tongues and ears this verse. Tunde tandavini ratir vinatani tundavali labdaye karnakroda kadambini gatataye karna bude vyadas priham chata prangana sangini vijayate sarvendrina kritim no jane janita kriyabdi amritai krishneti varna devi. I don't know how much nectar the 2 syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. So if I am not experiencing this wonderful nectar of the holy name, because I'm shy to go outside and do this Harinam Sankirtan, is because of my offenses, I think. So because I don't realize this nectar, I don't taste this nectar. So also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this, that in his 2nd verse, I think, that we do of our offenses, we don't taste this nectar of the holy name. So maybe that's why we don't, because we are not tasting, we don't want to glorify this holy name, going outside and just singing, just chanting. Well, especially here in my countries, everybody's very shy to go outside and chanting. So I think, just to follow Gurudev's instruction, that he's always saying, go on Sankirtan and distribute the name. So actually, it's in the beginning is for our purification and also to help others, because when you hear this holy name, also the person get some samskara, get some sukriti just to hearing this name, and maybe the next life will come and join the devotees. So also it's kind of a preaching. I mean, it's kind of following, no? One instruction, and yeah, we are encouraging here to join this program on 11th July to this World Sankirtan Party. And yeah, I think that is very, when we know that actually there is nectar, this is our method to advance in our spiritual life, then we will start to, when you feel happy, you want everybody also to be happy, right? So when we experience this, a little bit, so we can also encourage other people to join this beautiful kirtan. So yeah, that's only I want to say. That's all I want to say. And I just check in Facebook, and we don't have questions there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and here I don't know. I'm not sure. No,
I don't have questions now. But if anyone has any questions now that they'd like to ask, then please do so. Actually, I want to say that a couple of weeks ago, there was a big march or rally, protest, whatever you want to call it, in London. And there was supposed to be 500,000 people on that. And we went on, Yeshudnanbu organized this Harinam Sankirtan amongst all these people. And it was so ecstatic. It was so enlivening. And people just loved it. They were joining in and they were so happy. And I think it's so infectious, when everyone, there was probably at least, 50, 60 devotees. So, all chanting holy name, then it's very, very powerful, and people become so attracted and they get so much benefit. If you chant one name once, in your life, then, you're really saved. So it's not only purifying for us, it's purifying for them. It was interesting because one time, I think it was Shripad Sajjan Maharaj, he asked Gurudev, if we're Kanishta Adhikaris, we're going out on Harinam Sankirtan and we're chanting the holy name, but we're chanting Namaparad, so what benefit is there? But Gurudev said, no, don't think like this. Actually, there is so much benefit. Why? Because you're going out on the instruction of your guru. So if you're going out on the instruction of a pure devotee, then that potency is there, that power is there, and it comes through. So yeah, I encourage you all to go out as much as possible. And yeah, we can get so much mercy like that. Did you want to add anything, Kunamai Didi? Are you still there?
Yeah, she's there.
I'm here. Yes, thank you so much for mentioning that there is a World Sankirtan Day. And if you're interested in organizing a Sankirtan, please, I can see Krishna Priya added a link in the chat. You can go to that and you can sign up and participate. And every day is Sankirtan Day, but on this day, it's so nice if we can all share it together.
And very powerful day because it's Rath Yatra also. So, can you imagine in Jagannath Puri, all those millions of people, and then all over the world, that will really give so much benefit all over. The people are suffering in this stage, crisis is going on. So, all right, thank you so much, Kunamai Didi. Thank you for coming and speaking. Actually, you told me that you've never spoken before. I can't believe that. You spoke like you've been speaking for years. So anyway, that's really good. I hope you can speak more and more. That was very nice. And thank you, Shrimati Jagatam Didi. I'm not sure if you're still here. Are you? Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, very, very nice talks. Okay, and thanks for sharing. Is so much nectar. Okay, and is Taruni Diddy there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Thank you for joining, everyone. Please come again. Next week is Bhakti Basics, and the following week is again another Srila Gurudeva Vani Vaishnavi Prachar. Okay, thanks, Taruni Diddy. So you're going to sing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, very lively. To everyone going.
Okay, I'll try and do lively.
Okay.
Guru Guru Chandra Radhikaya Tadale Krishna Krishna Bhattaya Tadabhattaya Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Gauranga 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 Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Gaura Vimalande, Hari Hari.
Oh, Hari Bol. So nice. Very, very enlivening. Thank you. Lovely. All right. Thank you, everyone. If everyone wants to unmute, they can. Put the videos on. We can say Hari Bol.
Charu, can I ask a question to Jagatam Didi?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I didn't know you had another question. Sorry.
Oh, no.
You didn't have a question.
It was about 1975. That was the year of the Rath Yatra?
In Philadelphia, Philly.
Oh, Philly, yeah, because 76, I saw Srila Prabhupada. That was the second time I ever saw Srila Prabhupada. Was in 76 in New York, Rath Yatra.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I thought it was that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haribol.
Haribol. Haribol.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Jagatam, did you used to go out every day on Harinam Sankirtan as well?
No, I came after those years where the devotees went on Harinam every day. That was in the late 60s, early 70s. I came in 75, and our main activity was book distribution.
Oh.
And as soon as I stopped my studies in the university, the very next day, they gave me a book bag. They said, no, you can go out and distribute books now. And I said, well, I've only lived in the temple for a month and I really don't know the philosophy that well. And they said, it doesn't matter, Krishna will help you. So I went out and I just went down the street and just ran into so many different students, and I kept showing them pictures in the Back to Godhead magazine of Krishna. And all I said was, isn't he beautiful? Yes, everyone agreed that he was beautiful. And I distributed all the Back to Godheads, and so many people gave some little loose change or whatever. So I came back, and from that day onward, the temple couldn't keep me back. I was always out every day.
You're still distributing books to this day, I think, huh? You still
only on the Harinams at the moment, yeah.
It was, Charu Didi, I remember 1975, that's the first time I ever moved into a temple. I started going in 72, but I moved in 75 in LA. And Harinam used to have about 300 devotees. There was so many devotees, they had to split into two groups.
Wow.
So we would go out and then come back together on Hollywood Boulevard. Then you'd have the whole 300 devotees at one time. It was pretty far out. New York was similar a little later on, but LA was incredible like that.
Well, Yashodanandan Prabhu, right?
In England?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, he has this desire to make a huge Harinam, So he wants at least 108 devotees to come on the Harinam, but we haven't reached that number yet. But during the last protest on May 15th, I think there were about 60 devotees, but there were like 500,000 people there. But
yeah, was that with Ashram Maharaj and Nimi Maharaj also?
Yeah, Ashram Maharaj was there.
Oh, I see. Fine. It was
yeah, it was wow. It was amazing. Many people came, and many people were so receptive. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that beauty.
It was so great that I'm inspired to come again. I'm coming tomorrow all the way from Wales. So you're on mute. Yeah. You're on mute, Jagatam Didi. I couldn't hear what you were saying. Just went on mute.
Oh yeah, I think that hopefully I'll see you tomorrow if I can see you amongst the crowds. I'll be in my wheelchair.
Yeah.
If I don't stay in it, then I lose it, and then that becomes difficult.
Great.
Okay, Jai. Thank you very much, Char, for your Sangha, and thank you, everybody.
One last thing. I think Bhumipati Prabhu is on from New York, and he was one of the stalwart devotees of the great ISKCON Kirtan era.
Wow.
Yeah, he was one of the, I mean, that's when you had, even in New York, I think he had 150 devotees going out at a time, and himself and Vakeshwara Pandit and other Mahakirtaniya devotees. It was a very amazing time.
Is he's been with us today?
Yeah, he was on. He was making some comments on the chat.
Jai.
Yeah, Hari Bol.
Radhe Radhe. Jai Gurudev. Jai
Jai
Prabhupada.
Gurudev.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Haribo.
Thanks, Didi.
Haribol, Dandavats, wonderful program.
Oh, Dandavats Manini Radha Didi. Thank you for coming.
Yes, I'll see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully next